how to put a transmission in an 818 when the engine's already mounted, and it only takes me 3 tries. While the vast majority of installs in the 818 will have the engine and transmission already mated, there's definitely a case where pulling the transmission by itself is going to happen. You may have to install a limited slip diff, or replace the clutch, or replace a blown gear cluster. So this isn't a completely half-assed idea. Using the trusty engine hoist and a ratchet strap gives enough flexibility that you can line up the transmission and the clutch and all these things that need to happen. The trickiest part is the center line alignment, so you have to get the engine to actually lean forward in the car. I had used a ratchet strap from the alternator mount to the chassis in order to balance the engine, and by adjusting that I could adjust how far forward it leaned. Once everything is lined up and the transmission input shaft is in a straight line with the clutch, then you can sort of inch things forward. But before you do that, my first oopsie is I didn't install the clutch fork. So make sure that's in place on the throwout bearing before you actually mate up the transmission with the engine, otherwise you're going to do it twice. Installations are going to be different depending on what turbo, but in this case, with the twin scroll, I had to remove the turbo mounting bolt to actually move it over to the side to have enough clearance to get the transmission in. The next quick note is that the transmission bell housing is attached with bolts that are 2 different lengths, and the long bolts go on the top. Here's where I had to loosen the transmission bolts and then actually pull the transmission back to make enough room to get the clutch fork in, and after that was the pivot point and seal. And here's oopsie number 3. The rear transmission mounting point clearances are very tight, so you can't muscle it back in once everything's cinched up. The easiest way to do this is to loosen the transmission bolts or never actually tighten the transmission bolts. Drop everything, align the rear transmission mount, seat the nuts on that, and then go ahead and tighten everything up. Once the transmission is mounted and lined up, go ahead and cinch down the bell housing bolts. The field service manual says 36.9 foot-pounds. Other quick tip is, unless you really enjoy self-flagellation, install the clutch slave before the starter motor. And my last tip for the night is make sure you have the drive pin hole lined up before you put in the pin. Alrighty then, one transmission installed.